morning. I'm calling to order the Concord Township Board of Trustees meeting for March 5th, 2025. Will you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Patriarca, roll call, please.
Mr. McIntosh.
Present.
Mr. Dondorfer.
Present.
Mrs. Lucci.
Present. Moving on to the approval minutes.
Madam Chair, I will make a motion to approve the February 19th, 2025 special meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Madam Chair, I will move to approve the February 19th, 2025 regular trustee meeting minutes.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye. And I will make a motion to approve the March 1st, 2025 special meeting minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to our elected officials' reports. We will start with our fiscal officer, Mr. Patriarca.
Thank you, Mrs. Lucci. I'd like to begin this evening by referencing item A on the agenda, Resolution 2025-06 in regards to the permanent appropriations for 2025. I'd like to just get started by thanking all the department heads that you'll hear from this evening, Chief Sabo, Deputy Chief Bedell, Administrator Rose, Mrs. Sadler, and obviously the board for all their time and energy and effort as we work through the 2025 budget line by line, department by department, just to really ensure that our path forward was concise and clearly defined. So I appreciate and I wanted to thank everyone for their time and energy. I do think it's worth providing slightly more context on this topic in regards to the conversations that were had in regards to preparing the 2025 budget and how we kind of work through that. And so the thought process of the fiscal office wasn't simply tunnel vision on how 2025 was going to look in the 12-month budget. The thought process really reflected the beginning of a comprehensive multi-year strategy that I believe will put the township in a strong fiscal position, not just for the remaining portion of 2025, but 3, 5, 10-year window. So I thought it was important to kind of take that approach this year when we work through the budget department by department. So I thought the same thing. And while I certainly acknowledge that even the best laid plans are bound to have some change and levels of uncertainty, I thought it was really important to have a defined path forward. And so when those times of uncertainty arrive, we maintain some flexibility and the ability to kind of maneuver when that uncertainty does arrive, and it will at some point. And so I thought it was important to stress something more than just, hey, what's going on in 2025? And so that was the approach of the fiscal office. And again, thank you to everyone that helped contribute. With that being said, I do ask the board for a favorable vote this evening in regards to Resolution 2025-06. If any residents have specific questions regarding township finances or the 2025 budget, I encourage them to reach out to me directly, 440-354-7516. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Patriarca. Moving on to our trustees, Mr. McIntosh.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We've had a handful of things lately. I know I've had a lot of feedback on the noise resolution. We had a long conversation, staff meeting, and been talking about some water issues in the township. And I know there was a flurry of gas complaints that we all heard about with the fire department had to handle quite a few of them. We've had some speeding complaints. So we've been busy. I had notes, and I want to echo Mr. Patriarca's conversations about the appropriations workshop. That was one of the best conversations, and we all talked about having that on Saturday about thinking about long-term financing, to take a look at projected revenues and some of the things, and to have meaningful conversations about expenses that we anticipate now and in the future and the impact on the township budget. I would agree it was a very comprehensive approach to budgeting. It was also very thorough, and for people that look at the increases of we had the local government fund increase, we had property taxes go up, and so the township is picking up a little bit more money. We had the new levy passed, and despite all of those things, we spent a lot of time talking about what the demands are on this budget. Fire department equipment, we continue to realize is a high priority and a very expensive items, and some of the other things that we have to contend with as far as roads and taking care of stuff, you gobble up those funds very quickly. And I echo Mr. Patriarcha's comments to residents that are interested to talk to the fiscal office, to reach out to a trustee and ask questions, because it isn't a simple short answer. It is a very deep, robust conversation, and the dollars are big. We're gonna chew through a lot of stuff here in the future. So I want to thank him and the department heads for their diligent work. I do feel like we're on building a really nice multi-year plan, so it's exciting to have that under our office hours. This afternoon we had a nice meeting with our owner's rep and been talking about the economics of construction and what building station 2 looks like. I think that was building on our financial conversation, a really helpful discussion to take a look at what the bidding market looks like, potential impact of tariffs and some of those things as far as cost. And lastly, I've been doing more diligence to keep up with the OTA and Mr. Kyle Brooks about what's important to talk about with our state legislatures, and that's something that I'm going to be spending some more time on in the spring. So that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. McIntosh.
Thank you.
Mr. Dondorfer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, it's been a busy start to March. I mean, the appropriations meeting was wonderful. I really want to thank Mr. Patriarcha for his time of preparation. Like you said, the department heads had a lot of involvement in that, and we feel good and confident regarding moving forward in the township and the way the budget is situated. Had a staff meeting also on Monday. That went very well, covering everybody's intentions or how they're moving along in their departments. Learned that Quail Howl is up for auction due to the receivership, and I think that ends on March 11th, so maybe we'll see some movement as far as the Quail Howl property. As far as some calls we had, I know we had received a email correspondence regarding some traffic concerns and speeding in Concord Township, so I had contacted Captain Patterson, forwarded him that information, so they're going to get some activity and some traffic enforcement down there, as well as a speed trailer. I also had a couple questions, clarifications about the noise ordinance changes and the recommendations that I answered. Just from a safety aspect, I would like our residents to know if they got a text like I did, but there seems to be this toll text scam going around that's been identified on the AG's website. Right. My wife and I both got them, and she's like, did you forget to pay a toll? And I'm like, listen, there's no toll company that will contact you via text. It's all via mail. So if you're getting these texts saying that you owe a fee for a toll that's overdue, it's a scam. So please don't pay any attention to it, because you will not get that type of correspondence from the toll companies. And I think Captain Patterson had mentioned that Sergeant Monk might be touching base on that, because I think they had some reports of that in the township. Other than that, that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Dondorfer. So just to kind of expand on what you all said, I do appreciate our good workshop on Saturday. I really appreciate the engagement of our directors, of all of us, our fiscal officer, and really setting priorities which serve our township the best, as well as remaining good stewards of our funds. So a lot of challenges, as you mentioned, a lot of high dollar, big ticket items that we have to look at and strategize in the next 5 to 10 years. But I felt really good that we had a good grasp on all those things. So I appreciate you getting all that information in a nice way, and for everybody's involvement. So thank you for that. Monday was Ohio's birthday. Didn't know if you guys knew that. From 1803. So happy birthday to Ohio. I hope everyone enjoyed the little tease of spring yesterday and today. I think tomorrow things will look a little different. I'm sure our service director is already looking at that as well. And also, again, I did speak with some residents regarding some flooding issues, some speeding issues, of course, the gas issue this week. Thank you to our firefighters for handling. I think you had over 30 calls that day, Chief. I know you'll give us an update, so thank you very much. And then last, I just want to remind everybody that we get to turn our clocks ahead on Saturday evening, so that's right. No more suns setting before 6 o'clock. So I hope everyone enjoys the rest of your weekend. So Moving on, we will move on to our department report, and we will start with our administrator, Mr. Rose.
Thank you, Mrs. Lucci, members of the board, Mr. Patriarca, members of the audience, good evening. I'll start with the items on the agenda. Mr. Patriarca has covered item A, which is resolution 2025 tax 06 for permanent appropriations. Item B is a vote to advertise for bids. That's for our annual stone, cement, concrete, limestone products. Again, this is an annual bid that takes place every spring. Item C is a vote to hire a new part-time employee in our zoning department, so I encourage a positive vote on those items. I mentioned this last week, and I continue to get interest in some economic development projects, especially in the RD2 area and the Capital District, back to Capital and Discovery, and then we've gotten some recent inquiries along Auburn Road. So we're getting noticed, and we're getting some good looks. We're in discussions with several potential development opportunities. I met with a gentleman yesterday regarding a possible new restaurant, sit down, not fast food. So we're working through some logistics and wickets on that, and obviously tied in with zoning and Mrs. Freeman, just so that everybody's working off the same page, and that's going well. The annual reports that were due to Ohio Department of Development regarding our CRAs and TIFs, those are complete and submitted, and they're in well ahead of the 3/31 deadline. Next week, I will be updating our SAM, which is the System for Award Management. I have to update that by the end of March. That is the paperwork that allows us to apply for and receive federal grants. So we update that certification every year. And speaking of grants, we're continuing to look for grant opportunities. I know fire's got a couple in the hopper. We're looking at service. We're looking at recreation. So we're in this early stages of determining some eligibility. Congressman Joyce's office just sent out the call for the next round of community project funding. So we're taking a look at that and what this year's criteria is going to look like going forward. Might take a run at something there to be determined. Next coffee with the administrators, March 20th at 9 a.m. I too would like to thank everyone. I think this was probably the most robust appropriations workshop we've had in a long time. It was a solid deep dive. I know the department heads spent a lot of time talking with John and Cindy Sadler ahead of the workshop to make sure that their individual pieces were good, and everybody looked long range, which I think will pay dividends down the road. So I appreciate everyone's efforts in that. And to piggyback on Mrs. Lucci, don't forget to change your clocks. We spring forward. And to steal a little bit of Chief's thunder, it's a good time to change the batteries in your smoke alarms and your CO2 detectors. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rose. Moving on to fire, Chief Sabo.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I would have just given you the rest of my report, Andy.
I'd be happy to read it.
So for the month of February, we responded to a total of 241 incidents, bringing our year-to-date through February to 502. We had 158 EMS events with 126 transports to local hospitals. We had 83 non-EMS events, including 7 fires. Inside Concord, we had 2 structure fires, well, 1 building fire, which was a stove, and then we had 1 greenhouse fire. Outside of Concord, we assisted in 5 structure fires. We gave mutual aid 31 times, received mutual aid 8 times, and had 103 overlapping calls for about 43% of our call volume. That's going to look a lot different next month, so as you can expect. The Fire Prevention Bureau completed 69 inspections and 12 plan reviews. Some of these plan reviews that they're getting are like, one is a very large project, part of the Tri-Point addition for their cancer services. So they're diving into that, and that's going to take quite a bit of their time, but they're excited about the project and getting that going. In the public education section, we had 2 CPR first aid classes for Concord businesses. For about 15 students participating in that. We had Red Cross babysitters training with 7 students, and we had a school bus training and emergency operation review for Hershey Montessori for about 8 of their staff members, just to go over school bus safety. We've been scrubbing through our school bus crash SOG and how that works. We developed that many years ago under Chief Warner, and working with the local school districts and road crews from the schools and stuff like that. So that's a good thing for us to have. And then we ended up using it down on 608 during that ice storm that we had. We did host 2 classes at Concord Fire Station. One was the East End Fire Investigation Unit, and they did some training with the with Marshal Reardon of the State of Ohio Fire Marshal District Chief. We also had Lake County Fire Prevention Association doing their training with the Fire Marshal's office, and the shifts were doing walkthroughs as they try to do, especially over the wintertime. It gets them out into the community and the businesses. They did a walkthrough of American Belleville at 8059 Cryle. And we did install 5 new Knox boxes, residential Knox boxes. So that's a good program to have, and we're excited to be able to offer that still. Over February, we were working with local chiefs and municipalities with the ice jam. The ice jam didn't just affect Fairport Harbor and Grand River and East Lake and Willoughby Hills, but we actually had a significant ice jam down on Big Creek that we were watching very closely down on Fay Road, so that we were able to make sure that we were keeping an eye on it. So if we had to evacuate, we knew what we were going to do, but it never came to that, so that we were happy with that. Most recently, now this actually falls into March's report, but that's okay. I'll give a quick update because it's the hot button for the day. We understand, talking with Northeast Ohio Gas, that there was a overcharging of mercaptan. Natural gas is an odorless and colorless gas, so they add a chemical called mercaptan. Mercaptan is a very potent odor, and a very little bit goes a long way. We actually had reports from Lubrizol that they spilled, this was years ago, but they spilled just a little bit of mercaptan and the odor traveled all the way to Chardon. So it's very potent. So all total, since Monday morning at about 9:30 to right now, we have responded to a total of 109 calls for service. 83 of those are related to this gas event. What has been happening is we get the calls for 911. We had to upstaff, Chief Bedell and I staffed the fire station Monday night until about 9 o'clock because people were still calling the fire station, and the guys were all out running meters through people's homes, so no one else was there to answer the phone, so we had to man the phones. So we urge people to use 911 because we're not always there, and we don't want anyone to get missed for emergency services. So the crews would show up to the call of natural gas odor, which is what we want them to do. They metered the home for actual gas levels, and in Concord we had 0 structures that showed any gas readings in their home. It was all just the mercaptan odor, and mercaptan's non-hazardous in the gas form. So then it just gets referred to Northeast Ohio Gas. Every morning I've been sending them an updated list of our responses so that they can follow up with that resident and make sure that they're good to go. So that's where we're at. We have meetings set up with, well, we're working on setting up meetings with other Lake County and Geauga County fire chiefs, and plans on how to move forward and how we can make this a good training opportunity. You guys have any questions on it? No. All right.
I think so. Thanks,
Thank
Chief.
you.
All right. Well, we're still going on the gas odor calls, so
Stay tuned for more, but we're hoping it kind of has dissipated. But yeah, this was maybe a big oops, but we're there to help with whatever we can. So
Thank
thanks.
you very much. All right, moving on to our service department, Mr. Brown. Good evening.
Service Department in the month of February responded to 17 call-outs for snow and ice conditions, applying 902 tons of salt to the township roadways. Our crews were also out cold patching potholes, performing building maintenance, equipment maintenance, and evaluating the roads for the upcoming construction season. The Service Department continues to work with the Lake County Stormwater Department to help improve and maintain stormwater drainage throughout the township. We are working on several drainage improvement plans and some drainage issues within the township. Residents that wish to still purchase a mailbox snow barricade to help protect their mailbox from damage caused during plowing operations can find the application at Concord website or pick up one at Town Hall. There is a $50 fee for the barricade, and it is installed by the Service Department. Some good news at the end of the month for our residents. The yard waste drop-off will open on March 31st. The hours of operation are 7:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m., Monday through Friday, and the annual brush day collection will be Saturdays, May 3rd and May 17th from 7:30 to 2:30. The Service Department encourages residents with questions or concerns to contact us at 440-350-3225 or email at concordtwp.com under service. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Next is zoning with Mrs. Freeman.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So during the month of February, the zoning department staff processed 20 zoning permit applications and collected $3,700 in fees. The majority of these permits were approved for residential projects. However, there were also permits issued for new and expanding businesses in Concord. For example, University Hospitals was approved a permit for the addition that they need at the Physicians Pavilion for the new cancer treatment center that they announced. Also, Mailbox Plus is a new business that's going to locate over at Gristmill Plaza. The services that they're going to provide include copying, shredding, pro-packaging services, and shipping. There's going to be a new dental office locating at the Drug Mart Plaza on Cryle Road. And finally, Clee Carpet LLC, a carpet and upholstery cleaning business, is going to be locating within an existing building on Auburn Road as well. Additionally, staff was out busy performing inspections. We completed 59 property inspections for those that had zoning permits that were open. And we issued 10 certificates of compliances, which means they completed their project. Last night, the Zoning Commission held their meeting, and they held a work session to discuss some possible zoning text updates to the resolution. They intend to continue to help work on these amendments over the next couple months. Just want to remind the public that their meetings are always open, so any feedback on what they're talking about is welcome as well. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to the zoning department. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to echo Heather's comments. I was a zoning commission member, as you know, and for years we would have work sessions and talk about revisions to the code and what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And people just wouldn't show up. So I do know that our trustee meetings maybe get a little more attention than the zoning commission. So I just wanted to take an opportunity to reiterate how important it is, because we would sit there and just wonder what the residents of Concord would like to see or how they felt about an issue, and seldom had a chance to do it. So if people have strong opinions, we'd really like to hear from them.
Yeah, we very much appreciate the board, zoning commission board. All right, thank you. Moving on to our recreation department, Mr. Supler.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. We hope that everyone received their spring, summer grapevine that was mailed out to everyone. It's been a great response from our residents so far on that. Just a few stats in terms of that. Since February 28th, we've had 275 registrations, with 237 of them being Concord residents. So, and we've collected nearly $6,000 in just program fees alone in those few days since it reached our residents' mailboxes. So, great numbers for us. Great job by the recreation department and for the trustees and department heads for getting all your articles to us, and being allowing us to get that out in time, and we appreciate everyone's efforts in that. So some of our past and upcoming 55 plus programs. On Monday we held a hearing screening with Sounds of Life Hearing. We had a bunch of people attend that. On Tuesday, we started our first senior exercise program run by a Concord resident. We had 9 seniors for that, and they all really loved it, and hope we continue to see that grow. Today, we had Women in History do a presentation on Dorothy Day. March 19th, we're doing spring bingo. Our next foot care clinic, which those have become insanely popular. The doctor's basically booked up all of his appointment times each month. That one is March 24th. And then we're doing a Medicare presentation on April 2nd from 6 to 7 at the community center for anyone that's interested in that. Our youth classes, we have kids dance classes on Thursday evenings. The next session starts March 20th for ages 2 to 8. Our popular rookie sports programs are starting to fill up for spring, summer. We're doing soccer on Wednesdays from April 16th to May 14th, and T-ball and coach pitch baseball on Tuesdays, June 17th to July 22nd. Our adult exercise classes, we have gentle yoga evenings on Monday nights. We're doing gentle yoga Tuesday mornings, and then a yoga Pilates fusion on Wednesday evenings. Our adaptive programs, which we've expanded a bunch here in the last year, which we're very excited about. We have a karaoke dance night this coming Friday from 6 to 8 at the community center. We're looking forward to that. Some of our new programs that we're doing a Getting to Know Your Parks that will be going around local parks in the area here, run by an instructor, and those are the second Wednesday of each month. And that will include walk or hike in those certain parks. So we're also doing make and take bird feeders, learn to fish, and adaptive yoga for our special needs community. So our next special events, our big one coming up will be Saturday, April 5th. At 10 o'clock will be our Easter egg hunt and party at the fire station number 1. Gonna have face painting, balloon twisters, pictures with the bunny, and the popular Easter egg hunt. Our Concord photo contest is currently accepting submissions. That will go till April 2nd. Our categories include nature, places, people, black and white, and unique Concord scenes. For anyone that's interested in doing that, please visit our website. Our very popular indoor garage sale will run Friday, April 11th from 11 to 3 and Saturday, April 12th from 9 to 1. Admission is free, and we are already sold out of all of our vendor spots for that. The famous Concord Garden Club plant sale is scheduled for Saturday, May 10th from 9 to 11:30, so please mark that down at the community center. And as Ms. Lucci indicated, and we got a little tease of spring, summer today, but our 2 main events coming up are our Thursday night concert series starting June 5th from 6:30 to 8:30. That schedule is in the Grapevine. And please mark your calendars for Community Day, which will be Saturday, August 9th, and plenty more details coming out for those. Please continue to sign up for the e-Grapevine by visiting concordtwp.com for monthly updates. It was kind of funny, I was doing my notes and I was looking at my notes from last March, and we have added over 500 emails since last year to the e-Grapevine.
That's great.
Yeah, 500.
Outreach.
And we went from 60% engagement to 70% engagement. So,
It's fabulous.
so please sign up
Yes.
for the e-Grapevine. It's doing very well. So, and yeah, we look forward to seeing everyone at our spring, summer events. So,
What would, if you were to put it down, how did, that's tremendous.
Significant.
How did you get that to happen?
how do we get that to happen?
I mean, you got 2 things. The increase, I mean, 60 to 70%. I mean, when I was in business, I mean, I had SEO experts tell me like 20, 25% was fantastic. So that's off the charts. But Where do you think you started getting the subscribers?
So basically, anywhere we have a special event, we do our QR code, which I think is like a huge help. So people come up to register for our programs, or they come to Community Day and we have it on the table there. They scan the QR code and it immediately takes them to the place to sign up for their. And then as we get new registrations in for people as well, we'll take their emails and add them to their list if they ask to. So. It's just been an increase in general of people registering for our programs and our registration system, and it just kind of is all tied together. So,
Snowballing.
yeah,
Nice work. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Great job. All right, moving into Lake County Sheriff's Office, Sergeant Monk.
Afternoon, everybody.
Good evening.
For the month of February, we had 3 injury accidents, 17 property damage accidents, 41 citations, 235 warnings, and 2 operating vehicles under the influence of drugs and alcohol. 2 of the bigger calls for this month is we had a traffic stop. Operator was arrested for violation of protection order, weapons under disability, improper handling and transport of a firearm in a motor vehicle, and carrying a concealed weapon. Second one, deputies attempted to make a traffic stop on a vehicle that had no headlights. Deputies disengaged the pursuit after the vehicle failed to stop. Male was found then to have crashed into a shed on Ravenna Road. This all stemmed from him smashing out a vehicle window on Newcastle Drive. So he was ultimately arrested for failure to comply with the police signal, criminal damaging, and then he was also cited for leaving the scene of an accident and reckless operation of a motor vehicle. To touch base a little bit more with the scams that we have, the toll scams, if we are continuing to get these, we recommend that you guys go to the Attorney General's website. They're going to break down what you should do if you're getting these. If you get them, just ignore them, don't respond to them. And then also we're seeing a big influx in scams that are coming through where they're claiming to be a deputy from the Lake County Sheriff's Office. Don't respond to those, just hang up the phone. If you don't think it's us, give us a call back directly at our number and make sure that it's us that's calling you guys. So that's another one that they're doing. And we also put more information on that on our Facebook. So if you go to our Facebook, it'll break down all that information as well. I also want to touch base. I think we're going to be working with Concord Fire here for, it's going to be for the autism awareness. So we're going to get all the guys trained up on that. So how to handle that and deal with that much better. And we're all excited to learn more about that as well. That's it.
Great.
All right,
Thank
thank
you,
you.
Sergeant.
Thank you very much. All right, moving into our audience portion. Seeing we have none, we will move into old business, which there is none. So that takes us to new business.
Madam Chair, I will make a motion to approve Resolution 2025-06, which is the Permanent Appropriations Resolution.
I'll second.
Discussion?
Just to restate what we said earlier, that it's a thorough amount of work and a lot of thought went into it.
It's very robust, and it was great for the township. Thank you.
Okay. So, you seconded, right? And I said any discussion.
Yep.
So we are going to call a roll call vote, please.
Mr. McIntosh,
Yes.
Mr. Dondorfer,
Yes.
Mrs. Lucci,
Yes.
Madam Chair, move to approve Service Department permission to advertise for the 2025 stone, cement, concrete, and limestone bids.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Madam Chair, I will make a motion to approve the hiring of Kelly Taraba, zoning office assistant, at $18 an hour pending completion of a new hire paperwork.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Mr. Patriarca, future meetings and announcements, please.
The BZA meeting on March 12th has been canceled. On March 19th from 5 to 6 p.m., trustee office hours in the conference room, followed by at 6 p.m. trustee meeting at Town Hall.
All right, that concludes our meeting for this evening. Have a great weekend.